I actually live here in Ridgecrest, well, in Newbern. And my children went to school here from when we first opened it in 2001. I was on the board from 2001 until 2007 because we have term limits, which I really like. And then I was asked to come back on board in 2011 and served until 2018. And that was the end of my term. And I'm back here again to run for the board a third time. So, not sure what else to say. Well, I am an engineer by trade, worked on the base for 36 years, and I design parachutes for Navy and NASA. That's about it.
My name is Chuck Street. I'm Public Works Director for the City of Ridgecrest, licensed engineer, so I actually come from the same background.
Yep.
Soon to be licensed surveyor, wife to Brittany. We've had 2 kids that have come through the charter school, one in charter school and one soon to be in charter school. Been in Ridgecrest for 10 years, love it here, and want to see it grow and do better, and I've given back to the construction community quite a bit, I think most contractors would say, and trying to find another way to give back to our community.
I'm Chip Holloway. I'm now the CEO of the Desert Empire Fairgrounds. I'm also a consultant for waste management, representing the commercial recycling and trash sector for waste management. For 25 years, I was in the restaurant business in this town. If you don't know, I'm responsible for the body fat content of this town with Meat Schnitzel, which I purchased in 1992 and owned from 1992 till 2011. Also owned Texas Cattle Company, Juice It Up, and the death of me was Taco Del Mar. I'm unique in the fact that I'm probably the only school board member in Ridgecrest, for sure, maybe anywhere in the country, that has no kids. So people ask me why would I even consider being on this board, and I thought one of the reasons I got on this board, I was very concerned about the retirement program and how it affects public entities and their costs. And I also thought I'd be totally non-biased because I had no agenda for any particular segment of the school. I just wanted the best for all the kids. So that's why I want to be on the board. I'm a fiscal hawk. So I always defer a lot of the educational questions to those that deal with the kids day in, day out. And I try to be the financial watchdog for the board.
My name is Samuel Garvin. I've been in this valley since 1987. Grew up here, with my parents. My dad was in the Navy, and I stayed here, went to school, middle school, elementary, middle school, high school, and married. Got my wife almost 12 years, Andretta, happily married. Got 2 girls that actually go to the charter school here, Jananda and Shania Garvin. Jananda is actually in the 6th grade and Shania is in the 2nd grade. And I work on the base, I work in contracts, so I pretty much stay busy with that. But I'm excited to be a candidate because I see the need to help all of our kids in this community and just finding ways that I can help.
Okay, first question, if you could learn to do anything, what would it be?
Fly. I mean, not with an airplane, just, fly myself. And I know it's not possible, but if it was possible, that's what I would love to do.
Okay.
My wife would say that I would learn to do household chores without being asked, but for me it would be to speed read. A lot of my job is spent reading and trying to interpret what people are saying, and sometimes they're not saying it the best way that they could be saying it, so speed reading would be definitely one that I think I would like to have. And obviously figure out how to do chores to make my wife happy.
I'm embarrassed to say this. Let me I shouldn't say the only reason I went to Ridgecrest, but one of the main reasons I had a choice to buy this store in Ridgecrest or not, with other locations of Wiener Systems. It wasn't Wiener Systems, by the way, when I bought it. It was original hamburger stand, if you guys remember original hamburger stand. But the reason I chose Ridgecrest is, one, City Hall was so impressive because I did a tour of the city. And the other reason, and the overwhelming reason, was I've always wanted to learn how to fly. Literally, with a plane. and then I got here and I met people that already own planes. And some of them Timothy knows very well. And I never went and took a flying lesson to this day. Although I did get on the airport board now, so I'm getting closer. But that's what I would do.
For me, when I looked back, I didn't take advantage of school like I should have. You know, when you look back on it, you have some regrets where you wish you would have, paid attention a little better, listened to your teachers. You know, especially now as I have 2 little girls that are in elementary school. You know, I want to push them harder, and so I find myself looking back sometimes through the eyes of them, wanting them to excel, and wish I would have paid attention, got better grades, and possibly could have got a scholarship. You know, went to a 4-year university or somewhere. But on the another thing that if my wife could tell it, me being a better listener, sometimes they say, my wife says things goes in one ear and out the other. I know some other men can attest to that, but just being better listener.
Next question. What is something about you that probably most people don't know?
Well, I ride a unicycle, and I used to skydive, which is how I got interested in parachutes. And so I've been flying in a helicopter, Navy helicopter over the ocean, sitting in the door with the cameraman, watching a spacecraft coming out of the sky. The best view of a spacecraft ever. Like, how did I get that? But that was pretty fun. So yeah, those are things that most people might know.
I feel like I'm an open book, but I would say that the one thing that I would like to echo as part of what most people don't know about me is that I really feel like in my short time here, Ridgecrest has really become a part of my life in more ways than one. Started out at the water district, gave 10 years there, now work with the city. That Ridgecrest has really kind of become the center of our life. My wife is from Ridgecrest, her family's from Ridgecrest, her family's from Ridgecrest. So it's kind of the thing for me is that Ridgecrest is what I want to see succeed now, because that's where my heart is. Everybody I loved was here, with the exception of my parents, but hopefully soon maybe they'll be here too. So just the Ridgecrest is a good place, and I want it to be a good place for years to come.
I would say, but I think so many people have seen this now that it's not such a mystery, but I was actually on a game show, Card Sharks, about 25 years ago, and it replays on the game show network in Ridgecrest all the time. People see me with actually having hair and about 50 pounds lighter. But the one thing I think is kind of interesting is my name is Marshall, and I get kidded about it a lot, but I'm named Marshall Glenn Holloway, because in the South, Marshall, they don't want you to be a junior, so you split the name of your grandfather and your father and chip off the old block is where Chip comes from. But I'm proud of the name Marshall because my grandfather, Marshall Holloway, and if you Google him, I don't know if he's in there because it's so many years ago, but he was a city councilman in Bogalusa, Louisiana, which is the second place that Martin Luther King marched after Selma, Alabama. And he hired the first black public employee in the state of Louisiana. And he was rewarded by having 3 crosses burned by the KKK in his front yard. So I hope I picked up his courage where it comes to those type of issues.
For myself, I'm left-handed, but I use mouse with the right hand. So, and if I could, and another thing too is I'm very adaptable. I can go to a place and I can be very adaptable. I don't have to know a lot of people, and I can adapt to certain situations. I can don't have to know people. I can meet and greet people and don't have to know.
If you could eat only one item for every meal for the rest of your life, what would it be?
Pizza. Although it can't be made with American wheat because I can't eat American wheat, but I can eat wheat from, So I actually send it out for flour and make pizza that way. Oh, gosh, yes.
No, I could not.
Oh.
Mine would be red meat because I guess you could say I'm related to crocodiles and alligators. I don't know, but my wife would not approve of it. She tries to limit my red meat intake, but mine would definitely be red meat, steak, and hamburgers, and we should do that place. I'll give you business.
Deanna would tell you chocolate. Anything chocolate, but you can't live with chocolate. So I would probably say, if I could only eat one thing, I'd do red meat, but probably fried chicken. I love fried chicken.
For me, I love ribs.
That would be my second.
I will take his answer.
I love ribs. I love to cook them. I love to eat them. So, yeah, that's it.
What was the best advice you ever received, and who was it from?
This was from my mentor, who happened to be one of the scientists that we got after World War II in Operation Paperclip, a German scientist who was the best parachute designer in the world. And fortunately, I met him, and he was my mentor, and it worked out great. His saying was, spend as much quality time with your family as you possibly can, because nobody gets to retirement and says, gosh, I wish I'd spent more time at work. In a very interesting German accent, he said that. So it has stuck with me forever, and I think I've done my best doing that.
We got another line still. Changed it up though.
You have to go first all the time.
Chip said you have to keep the order.
No, the closing statements go the other way.
That's right.
Can I mix it up next question?
I don't care. I'm just giving you more time, so. Mine, everybody's gonna not laugh, but my dad always told me from day one, live by the golden rule and follow your heart. I feel like I do that unless it's with my wife. And we definitely follow our heart. I definitely follow my heart, and I always try to do right by other people, but living by the golden rule is treat me well, and treat people the way you want to be treated. It's done me well thus far, so.
I got two. My dad was never judge a man until you walk in his shoes, which I learned early in life. And then one I got really late in life was from a former city manager at the city of Ridgecrest, Kurt Wilson, which I don't know if many people know, but because like you, I didn't have a PhD like half of this town has outside. I was always a little intimidated on the city council because I was the only one on there without the big degree. And Kurt Wilson told me something, and he said there's a very big difference between being well educated and being smart. I would never discount being smart as opposed to being well educated. And that was a weight off of my shoulders, so to speak. And it's kind of relieved pressure on me for a lot of years.
For me, it would have to have come from my dad. My dad would always say to me, and it's really stuck to me to this day, and even though sometimes, when you look back on things, you wish you would have done things a little better, but the quote that he would always share with me, the advice, is be the best version of yourself. It's easier when you can be yourself opposed to when you're trying to imitate someone else, because you have a hard time trying to keep up with somebody else. Just be you. And when you be you, I think people will respect you for that, and you'll be taken further in life.
Do you have bring to the board that you feel will be most helpful?
Well, as I said before, I'm a licensed engineer, so there's not an ADA problem that I can't solve. And that's, we're not talking about there was a different term that I heard here, it's fleeting right now, but the American with Disabilities Act, so pretty much can solve just about any problem that comes up with that. Any other engineering challenges that we might have in the future for building and stuff like that, right up my alley, and I would say public meetings. Working at the city, we learned very quick in politics that a lot of times people don't like to read what you write. And stuff like that, and I just feel like bringing that perspective from not only from the city side, but also from being in numerous public meetings on a daily basis. Most of the time that could be handled with an email, but I think that's the two strongest suits that I would be able to bring to the school district.
Well, uniquely, this issue, the most recent issue, I spent 16 years on the Ridgecrest City Council, 2 years as mayor, 2 terms as mayor. And based on our current situation, there's a saying that everything's political, it's only a rare occasion when it makes sense. This issue we're dealing with has political ramifications to it. And I have the ability to already develop a relationship with Kern County Superintendent of Schools and know how to kind of speak that speak. And then I have a network of people that have a relationship with those people that can help us get our message to the right people on the actual board. So I wouldn't have gave you that answer a year ago as my best skill set, but to date, that's the most valuable skill set I have for this board moving forward.
For me, being a parent, invested, like I was sharing, I have 2 girls here, so I feel that I can be biased when it comes to matters that are being shared in the best interest of the school, staff, students, and our community.
Well, I feel like I have the history of the school since I've been here forever. Actually, I think my name is on the purchase agreement for this property. I was the school board president at the time. I've done a lot of things here. I've got to know the how the education world is, and it's like Chip says, it's political in a lot of ways, and you have to be on your A game dealing with a lot of politics that happens. I also feel like I treat parents, staff, our authorizers, everybody I come in contact with dignity and respect, and try to deal with any issues that come up in ways that we need to get addressed so they don't become big problems.
We're gonna start with you this time. What would you tell a prospective parent considering REALMS for their child?
Well, first and foremost, it's an alternative. If you have any issues with the bureaucracy of the big school system in town, not to be named, we're an alternative. We try to really focus, the music, the language, and the science is the 3 areas that we're trying to salvage, because the big school district's not dedicating anything to those issues as much as they should, other than STEM. And also that we're trying to maintain smaller class sizes. And you have a relationship with the teachers, you have a relationship with other staff members, and hopefully, because of the PTO, you'll start having a relationship with other parents. So it's a more intimate setting for your child, and we can react faster to help your child if he's needed, as opposed to getting caught in the morass of a big bureaucracy where your child becomes, in essence, a number.
I think one of the things I would share with a parent is that it's close-knit here. Obviously we love the smaller classroom settings, because if we were to go to the district, we understand that the classrooms are running over a little bit. And then if you have any challenges with your child, there's more of I wouldn't say a one-on-one, but it's a smaller, they can be worked with. feel that it would be a great, for a parent to bring their child to REALMS, and the staff, and the teachers, they're all great.
I would say, first of all, to a new parent, I would talk about the benefits of REALMS, like the other gentlemen have done. There are choices in town. Sierra Sands has good programs as well. So I would, first of all, ask them to come in and actually talk to the director and maybe even go see a class that's in progress. And do your best to spend some time here on campus and see if that's a good fit for your child, because it's not perfect for everybody, neither is Sierra Sands. So it's going to be the best for your child.
So I would echo just about every sentiment they've said, but I think ultimately REALMS embodies the character of Ridgecrest. It embodies the blue collar, hardworking, more tailored environment. I've seen it in my kids especially, that I feel like they've taken in the teachings from here at a higher rate than I think they would in public school. I went to a public school, obviously it was a small school where I'm from, but so it was a lot more individualized and tailored in that sense. And I feel like as Chip said and everybody else said, in a larger institution, you kind of become a number. You can get lost in the weeds, and it like I said, it embodies our lifestyle out here. It's family oriented, aimed at the cultural side of things, and music, and learning how you can be a better person. And I think that's ultimately the thing that gets forgotten about school. In my opinion, the education's important, but that's only about 20% of what's important. When your child is here, you learn to deal with people, and that's what you're going to do every day.
Okay, Sam, we'll start with you. What do you feel your role as a board member entails, and how much authority do you feel you have, or sorry, they have?
I think the primary role is to be support, because we're representing the school. You know, when you say representing the school, we're talking about every aspect of the school, from the educators to the staff, to the parents, to the teachers. So the decisions that ultimately that we make will trickle down and affect everyone. So I think that is very critical in the decisions that board member has to make. That is not just about what we want; it's about the overall goal, which is, you know, the staff, the students, the teachers, and the educators.
I would say the board is ultimately responsible for everything that the school does. The board's primary role is governance, not management, and we have staff to do that, and a very good staff that does that. But our job is to make sure we've got funding for whatever programs we need, we've got the people that we need, those kind of things are in place. But our primary job is setting policy. Like Sam said, we have to decide what the different policies are going to be for the school to make sure that, and as well as being, like you said, the face of the school. When we talk with our authorizers or the city or anyone else, we represent the school, and we need to speak as one voice.
I would agree with everything you guys said. It's more of an oversight position. It's someone who takes the opinions of the parents, takes the opinions of the staff, takes the opinion of the kids, and dictates policy. Run the day-to-day. That's what you hire staff for. And I think one of the things that gets lost in all that is actually listening to your staff and following the direction of the people that are here all the time. Now, do I think that gets you in trouble at times? Absolutely. But that's why there's 5 of us, and that's why you go as a collective. And one of the big things that I think gets overlooked about the public sector in general is when the board makes a decision, once that decision is final, whether you voted yes or no for it, or you were opposite of it, the board makes a decision, you have to be on board with that decision, and now you support that decision.
Not to be repetitive, so, authority, we have zero authority. unless we get two other people to agree with us on an issue. Oversight absolute, governance absolute. We only have authority over one individual at the school, which a lot of the public doesn't understand. We have no role in a bad teacher or a good teacher. We have no role in the food at the cafeteria. I mean, we have no role in it. Our only role is making sure the CEO follows our goals, objectives, and missions. And we give her the tools, her or he, if it could be changed in the future. They get the tools they need to implement the goals that the board sets, and ultimately fits the charter school code that the state requires us to follow. Because as you guys are experiencing right now, the state's kind of interested in what we do these days. Close the statement? Everybody close the statement? All right. If I'm being honest, Elson and Deanna will tell you I did not want to run again. But I also was guilted into doing it for the kids. And if Elsa would sit you on the side, she'd tell you that when I was on the city council, when we tried to start the charter school, there was every kind of problem in the world with this location. And the reason, again, as a guy with no kids, I supported every variance the charter school requested to put a charter school here is because I believe people deserve an option and a freedom of choice. And right now, like I said earlier, my skill set is the best skill set to help us get to this next level. So I would commit to stay on. I'm on 5 boards right now. I don't need this for my ego. I got plenty of time. I would gladly. I wanted to walk away and give another parent a chance, to be honest with you. But the reality is that would be unfair to the potential of the school. This might be the only reason I sat on the council for 16 years, to save this school. I may still fail, but I think I would be dishonest and be mad at myself if I didn't offer my services to try to help this school in this situation. But that's for people to decide. I'm willing to, and I promise you I won't stick around. If I get us through this mess, I'm glad to go away and let another parent take my spot. But I will commit to do anything I can in the area where I think I excel to help the school be successful. Because we need a charter school in Ridgecrest, whether I'm on this board or not. I pray the next board. And all these candidates are great. I'm excited about these candidates. So, they don't have that skill set.
For me, I think it's about the overall goal. Is when I became interested in running, being a potential candidate for the board, it wasn't solely just because I wanted something to put on a resume or, have my name up in lights. It's solely about, I have, my 2 girls that go here, and they have friends that go here, and it's about the school and trying to make it better for the kids, for the parents, for the staff, being an ear to listen to those that have concerns, because we already know that there's going to be issues that arise. That's human nature. But just listening here for one, and being able to help in any way possible to come up with some solutions for the betterment of this school and for this community.
Well, I would say I did want to come back and help out. I was asked. I've been on the board several times. Both times there were issues. We were struggling. There were different problems at the different times. This one is another different kind of problem. I think it is very serious. If it wasn't, I would be doing things that retired people do. But I feel very strongly that I think I have what it takes to help significantly with getting us into a good place. And so I wanted to make myself available for that.
So I think that I've got intimate knowledge about how voice systems work. One of the big things I do want to say, not so much to sell myself, more so to sell to the parents out there and everybody listening right now, that history is important, and you absolutely no matter what way you decide to vote for any of the candidates that are up here or any of the other candidates that couldn't be here tonight. History is very, very important, and you need that on your board. So you absolutely need to take that into account when you're voting, because without the history and without knowing past transgressions, there's things that can get overlooked and missed that can be a crucial part to this place staying open or not staying open. So that's, I think that's my big thing. You know, I don't have the history, but just keep that in your mind, and to know that the history of what's been going on here is very, very important.
That it? Is that gonna be your